Hey, party people, welcome back to another exciting, action packed episode of SJU. I'm here with Lon. I'm here with Kim, all the way over from the UK, and we're here to talk about one thing and one thing only. Actually, no, we're here to talk about multiple things. But first up, we're talking about how Paddington 2 has unseated Citizen Kane at the top of the Rotten Tomatoes movie list. Citizen Kane, no longer the proud owner of 100% positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, along with a Godzilla movie as well, still staying at 100%. So we will discuss all things that follow from that and what we need to do to this evil bear. Just kidding. I would never say that. Also, stuff happened in the industry. We got some new Luca sights and sounds. They released a new trailer for the Luca movie. Mortal Kombat continues its reign of terror on HBO Max. And we will respond to comments and questions from viewers like you. So anything else you want us to talk about, throw it in the chat. But right now, I want to talk about legitimate theater. I want to talk about film and film criticism, because what's happened, you guys? Citizen Kane, after, I don't know, we're coming up on, not 100 years, but it's a very old movie at this point. It's
80.
Yeah. 80 years.
Yeah, coming up on 80 years.
1941.
And somebody on Rotten Tomatoes dug up a allegedly negative review, robbing it of its 100% positive rating. Now, I read this review this morning. I found it to be stupid, but not entirely negative. I guess it was mixed, which would still give it a 99%.
Well, that's the essential thing that everybody is, of course, missing in their clickbaity headline, because you want it to be like, suck it, Kane, Paddington rules. Like, that's the best way to get people to pay attention to your tweet. But what's being missed is it's not critics saying Paddington 2 is better than Citizen Kane. It's more, it's a numbers game. It's overall, of all the critics who reviewed both movies, like, there were this many reviews that were, like, the individual critics who liked both Paddington 2 and Citizen Kane, a lot of them might think Citizen Kane is a lot better. That's not being evaluated by Rotten Tomatoes at all. And
That's
a lot
true.
of the reviews, just like you're saying, kind of fall into this gray area where it's like a subjective judgment call. Is this a fresher or rotten anyway?
So Kim, is Paddington 2 better than Citizen Kane?
I'm going to say no, Spencer. But like, as Long was saying, it doesn't take away from the fact that I love both movies, along with many other people. But they're very different and they're not comparable, are they, really? But maybe, if we look at Paddington 2 again in another 80 years and assess the impact it's made and the influence it's had, then we can make a balanced judgment.
Also, a parable for William Randolph Hearst, Paddington 2. It's a little known fact.
Like, Paddington's like the anti-Hearst, really. I feel like they've embraced a very different worldview. I'd like to see Charles Dance play Paddington at some point.
Yeah, do we think this is the Mank effect? That's, for some reason, Mank brought it back into the public consciousness, and like somebody at Rotten Tomatoes was Googling, like, why now? Why would this suddenly be dug up? This thing from the Chicago Tribune, like right after the movie came out, that wasn't part of Rotten Tomatoes. Why would it? Why now, Lon?
It might be the Mank effect that Mank has brought. I mean, there was a thing on Oscar night where Mank has 2 Oscars, Citizen Kane only won 1. So Mank also Mank exceeds Kane in Oscars. So it might have been, a thought resulting from that, like, oh, we're unseating Citizen Kane in terms of, Mank has more Oscars. Maybe we could find something. It may have been tied in, or it may just be like randomly somebody found this in an archive somewhere and was like, oh, let's add it to Rotten Tomatoes. That's fun.
I have a theory that it was Hugh Grant that added this.
But his character from Paddington 2, his deliciously evil Hugh Grant.
Probably having watched Mank and done exactly that. Because, by all accounts, he gets very into his characters when he's acting. Maybe one step shy of a method actor. But if you look at that review, I mean, I don't know how authentic that review actually is, right? But if you look at it, what it criticizes the film for, as in Citizen Kane, is that it wasn't simple enough or entertaining enough. Both things that Paddington 2
Yes.
is.
That's interesting because, Paddington 2 and the way Rotten Tomatoes works, it like games the system because it's just like positive or negative. gets you rotten or fresh, right?
Right.
Or which
Yeah.
column they tally it in. And there's something, everything about that movie is designed for you to like it. It's not designed, although a lot of people love it because it does its job very well, but it's impossible to dislike Paddington 2. Although, look, 88% of an audience score, so there's 12% of people who are,
Wow.
I will say, and I raised Twitter's ire for bringing this up back in February. The last time there was this week-long celebration of how much everyone loves the Paddington films. They're very good. I enjoy them, but I was not aware. Like, it caught me by surprise at the beginning of this year when there was like that week where everybody was posting about how they're the greatest movies ever. Like, I missed that point when we decided they went from like, oh, these animated bear movies are surprisingly good, you should check them out. Like, I thought we were still holding there, but no, we've gone on to like Paddington is the one true God. Like, we've moved way beyond like those bear movies were surprisingly good.
There is some Paddington obsessiveness, but to me, I think the sentiment is, how could you dislike Paddington? You don't have to say Paddington's the best movie of all time, but if you say you don't like those, you don't care for them, it's like, wow, there is something broken in you.
But we are gonna have comments on this video that are like, you guys are all wrong, Paddington is the greatest movie of all time. Like, I promise that's going to happen. Yeah. There are people watching now infuriated that we're not conceding that Paddington's the best movie of all time.
Well, maybe these people would have been friends with this Citizen Kane reviewer, May Tani. They don't name people like that anymore. Who wrote, it runs to gargantuan sets and arty photography, shadowy and spooky, which, however, according to our Eddie Johnson, is something for the books. I wouldn't know about that. I only know it gives me the creeps, and I keep wishing they'd let a little sunshine in. So,
she writes like characters from movies of that era talk. I don't know about all that guff. I gives me the creeps, I say. Like, she's got that timber.
But
just to point out, I did read that critic's name was actually a play on Matinee, and it was a pseudonym that the staff used.
Amazing. Matinee. Matinee.
Yeah.
You can all day long.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, there's also a lot of, if not outright positive things to say, then at least like recognition that they're doing something bold and interesting and different in this film, which I guess it's really subjective. The people at Rotten Tomatoes hold so much power to say, oh, this is mixed, or this is positive, or this is negative.
It's also, I mean, today, going back and watching Citizen Kane, it looks like, a lot of other old movies, and so many of the things that Toland and Wells were doing in that movie became part of film language moving forward. So it would have been in 1941, it would have seemed more artsy and weird and like pretentious maybe even than it does today, because it was doing a lot of stuff that was new and experimental and different then. Whereas now we're just like, but a lot of movies do like weird transitions. That's not an odd thing anymore. Like Dutch angles or, big cavernous sets or whatever. Like that's not as strange to us today.
Yeah.
In Paddington 2's defense, I just will add that it does feature the great and the good of British thespians. So
you got Gleason in there.
You've got Jim Broadbent, Michael Gambon, Imelda Staunton, Julie Walters, Hugh Bonville. Who did you say, Lon? Sorry.
Oh, Brendan Gleeson is also in the too. Well,
yes, that is like a murderer's row of great British thespians.
The Paddington films are very good. I like them very much. I'm not trying to knock them down. They're delightful and charming, and it's a nice message, and it's an uplifting sort of thing. Of course,
yeah,
we all human. Like Paddington here.
But here's the thing: D.A. Baracus brings up an interesting point, or some new information. Citizen Kane is top still among Metacritic scores, followed by The Godfather, Rear Window, and Casablanca. Based on this alone, maybe Metacritic is a better source for movie reviews. Paddington 2 has an 88. That feels more right to me. That feels like better. If you're going to analyze art and rank it, it feels like that's a better list to me. Give Paddington like a B+, A-. I'm sorry.
But these, again, Rotten Tomatoes is not intended to be like a grade. Like, that's what I think we always miss. It's intended to be a survey of, out of all the critics, how many thought this was like more good than bad. Yeah. It's not intended to be like, I give it a B. Like, you can't look at the Rotten Tomato score and assign it like a number like you would a student's grade point average.
Yeah. it's like a vaccine, like a percent effectiveness of the film.
Right. And Paddington 2 is like getting your second shot. So go back and get your Paddington 2s, everybody. Don't give up after one.
Yeah, any final thoughts, Kim or Lon, on what this says about the state of film criticism, or just what do you like better, Citizen Kane or Paddington?
Well, I just wanted to make the point that Paddington 2 is generally considered better than Paddington 1, much like Godfather 2 is better than The Godfather.
Oh, you're just saying it's better. Because I would disagree.
That's not necessarily my opinion.
Okay, got it.
Oh, I think Paddington 2. I like Paddington 2 better.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So our next show will be, is Paddington 2 better than The Godfather? Thanks to Kim. So
we'll go one by one through all the questions. Is Paddington 2 better than Lawrence of Arabia or Tarkovsky's Stalker?
We will keep you posted. Just waiting for Armand White to uncover like an old negative review of Paddington 2.
Oh, I have a question. As long as we have Kim here, is marmalade much more common in the UK? Is marmalade supposed to be a thing that like is weird that Paddington's into, or is it an everyday thing that everybody's into?
Yeah, I mean, things have changed over the years. Paddington goes back a long way. Marmalade was probably more common then, but it's still a very common, particularly at breakfast on toast.
Right,
sure.
Occasionally you'll be at a breakfast place and one of the jelly things will have orange marmalade in it. It's not unheard of in the US, but it's not an everyday food for sure.
You'll get it on every breakfast table in a hotel over here.
Yeah.
I seek it out. It's nice. It's like sweet but also a little bit bitter, like the rest of the UK.
I gotta be honest, I'm not really that into it. I gotta set that to one side when I watch Paddington. You're like, all right, he's a bigger marmalade fan.
Well, we'll keep everyone posted with this story as it develops. The Kane versus Paddington, and then I do want to quickly mention there are two more remaining 100% positive movies on Rotten Tomatoes. One is Terminator, the original Terminator. And one is Godzilla versus Destroya, which I've never seen, from 1995. So I hear good things. I'll have to check out Godzilla v Destroya.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that high, but sure.
I think it's also one. It has like 6 legitimate reviews, and they're all positive. So it kind of benefits from that.
There's no middle ground, is there? There's no average, really.
Well, it's a popular one among Godzilla fans, so I'm assuming that's why. It's like all the websites writing about it are like kaiju fans who are writing excitedly about you should check out
this one. All right, well, that's on my watch list, and I will rewatch Terminator any day of the week. Thanks everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell. Here's the thing: Kim has a book. It's called Why We Love the Matrix, and you got to get it, dummy. Click it now. Go. Bye. Do it. This is my superliminal advertising. Go quick, buy it.
I love the movie. Please buy it.
It's like a Steve Brule. It's like, it's a good book, dummy. Buy it
for your health. We should have a link in the description. If it's not, Brian, get it there. We've got a watch this for what to watch after you've seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Check that out now on this very channel. And we move on to other news. There's other things happening in the world aside from a battle about meaningless metrics on a stupid website. There's a new movie coming out, Luca from the good people at Pixar, streaming. I think at June 16th. I think it said. So they just released this, I believe, second trailer, but it's our first real full look at the story and plot and characters. Did y'all watch it, and what'd y'all think?
Yeah, there was no real indication that it was going to make me cry, like all Pixar movies, but I imagine it will. And I feel unprepared going into it now for that. Of course, I'll have the tissues ready. But, my first thoughts were that it was a Shape of Water reboot.
It's like Call Me By Your Name plus Shape of Water equals Luca, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to say, you bring up a good point, Kim. Is like I'm waiting for the sad shoe to drop. I think that probably the friend, the like extroverted friend, I'm thinking he dies or gets eaten because
by the cat.
by the cat, yeah. Really fun voice cast, I thought. I think I heard Maya Rudolph in there, and some good Jacob Tremblay doing a little Italiano in there. Good for him.
Yeah.
Jack Dylan Grazer, yeah.
It looks lovely and colourful and musical and all of those things. And, you know, we always all love all the Pixar movies. It's going to be lovely, isn't it? So
it probably will.
Yeah.
But
the art kind of reminds me in a way of like European comic books, like French and Italian comic art, you know, especially like the town. It looks like kind of differently stylized from a lot of other Pixar stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm looking forward to just sort of taking in this town, and it seems like a really cool setting with the land and water and the constant, you know, sort of like where these two kind of settings meet.
That's true. I feel like Disney and Pixar really haven't been to Italy since what, Pinocchio? Like, I guess, like you really don't get.
I guess not.
Yeah. I mean, there's like Italian American stuff, but like a nice seaside Italian town.
Yeah, it feels like it's mixing it up a little bit in an interesting way.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's not too much to say. It just looks good and fun, and will probably make us cry.
Almost definitely. I mean, they're planning something. We don't know what it is yet, but
they're planning something.
I've read that the music struck me, which was interesting because Ennio Morricone was originally going to do the score for it, and then sadly passed away and was unable to. So they dedicated the film to him. But it's funny that the music stood out for me before remembering that.
Yeah, it's also interesting. They're billing it. It's the guy who directed it. Enrico Casarosa. I believe it's his first Pixar feature, but they're actually, you notice that they have the director of La Luna. That's that 2011 short. So he's done a Pixar short before.
Nice. Now, look, I don't love putting on the adult world view of children's entertainment to like read into it deeper meanings, but like you mentioned Call Me by Your Name, this does also seem to be about two young boys who are very close, who harbor a secret that they can't tell anybody. That's what people were talking about when they heard the plot synopsis. Do we think that is the subtext that this could be about like a same-sex relationship more or less likely after you've seen the trailer?
I mean, I don't think they're going to put that fine a point on it, but I think that's sort of the metaphor. In the same way, like X-Men, they kind of worked in as an LGBTQ metaphor. I think that's probably what the sort of thought behind this is. It's like, it's about growing up and figuring out who you are, this journey of self-discovery, and you also feel like you have this secret that you have to keep to yourself. It could be applicable to more things than just being gay, but I think it is. Sure. It does apply to that in some ways. And I think that, yeah, they're probably, they seem to be aware of that, the creators of the film.
Well, like Disney bragged about with Beauty and the Beast, will we have an exclusively gay moment, quote unquote, in Luca that they were so excited to put in their press release?
I mean, just don't advertise it. Do it or don't do it, but we don't need to like hear about it.
Guess what, you guys? We've got an exclusively gay moment in Beauty and the Beast.
It always goes bad when they try to do that.
Yeah, well, we will see. We will see what happens. But I think it looks fun and vibrant and very good. And
I'm excited.
And the fact that it's streaming, all the better. So other I wanted to briefly talk about. I don't think we have images, but there's that Chris Pratt trailer that came out.
Yeah, the Tomorrow
we don't need to
War.
really talk about it, but I hope that, Lon, you said like, I think they're holding back a twist or something, and they better be, because man, this movie comes out in like a month or two, and that looks like it's got nothing to it.
The way this trailer especially is like cut, and the way that everything they've been talking about, just the descriptions of the movie, they're always vague in the same kind of way, and it really leads me to believe this is one of those movies where at like the 45-minute to an hour point, there's going to be a rug pull, because you notice like we never really like see the alien, like the setup is he's in the modern day. Chris Pratt's a high school teacher in today, and he gets visited by people from the future who are like, we've got to take you back to the future with us because aliens are invading and we need soldiers for this future war. and then that's where like the war is happening. But we don't really see anything in the trailer. There's no like cool time travel sequence. There's no alien ships coming into the city sequence, which leads me to believe that on some level that's not the real story.
Yeah, you don't see the aliens.
And he's going to get to where he's going and discover it's not really a future war against aliens. It's like X, you're in the simulation, or we're the aliens and we've been tricking you, whatever, something. You know, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, this was a Paramount movie, supposedly or meant for theaters, that is coming to Amazon Prime in a month or so. So it didn't really wasn't a very memorable trailer, to the point where none of us can remember the name of the movie except for Chris Pratt time travel.
Tomorrow War. It's called the Tomorrow War. Okay. I remember.
I hope it doesn't end with a deadly jellyfish in an ice bath.
Is that some Edge of Tomorrow slander?
That is £7.
Yeah,
£7. Oh, of course.
It's the box. He's got the box jellyfish.
Wow. Yeah.
You all remember Will Smith's classic £7?
I do. Yeah. Got to preserve those organs.
Spoiler alert. Can we put up a spoiler alert graphic for £7, please?
That was a recent like Schmodown answer that was very controversial.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, wow. It was like how does what kills the Will Smith character? How does the Will Smith character die at £7?
Wow.
You had to say a jellyfish.
A jellyfish, yeah, because otherwise you lose the organs. Brilliant film. Second only to Collateral Beauty in my serious Will Smith filmography.
If you count Winter's Tale, that's always the bubble one.
Yeah,
that he's only in one scene, but it's very memorable.
Okay, moving on. So Mortal Kombat, again, big hit. Samba TV, who does their best to do metrics for all of these apps. They're trying. So this is a guesstimate. This is like when you see the jelly beans in the dentist's office and you have to guess how many there are and you win a coupon. They claim that using smart TV data only, Mortal Kombat put up 3.8 million views on its debut weekend, which beat Godzilla vs. Kong for 3.6, Wonder Woman 84, 2.2, Snyder Cut 1.8 over 4 days. So wow, does that track to you? Just like gut check, does it seem like this movie was as big a hit in line with those other three that I mentioned?
I mean, I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong might have had more people who were like, I'm going to go see this in a theater on a big screen and not watch it on HBO Max. And Mortal Kombat might have been the opposite, where like diehard fans of the game probably want to go see it in theaters, and everybody else was like me and like, I'll be perfectly fine watching this on HBO.
Yeah, I mean, those two numbers are close, aren't they? The Wonder Woman, being substantially lower, I feel that may have something to do with the fact that, I mean, initially you think it comes out at Christmas and people would flock to see it, but it was soon after the announcement that Warner Brothers made that they were going to release their slate on HBO Max for 2021, and that was the first. Is that right?
That was the first. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess more people have subscribed to HBO Max since.
Well, it's the activations that's the big story. That like HBO Max, when it first launched, there were all of these people that were eligible for HBO Max because they had HBO, but they hadn't signed up yet. So they're closing that gap, which means it's not necessarily like they're making more money because these people already paid for HBO, but they're figuring out, I can put this app on my phone or my TV and watch HBO stuff there. So like as those numbers go up, their viewership will go up, even though their subscriber number doesn't go up.
That's true. I do think that HBO Max has had the best year in terms of like percentage growth of any of the streaming services.
Yes.
And I think this is no small reason why is first run movies. I'm just surprised because I think that if this was a theatrical only release, this would have been a bomb, right? Like, I don't think people would have gone out of their house to see Mortal Kombat at all. No? Am I crazy?
It's so hard. It's so hard to say. I mean, we haven't had any kind of period where things were normal, where we were leading up to this movie. We had no idea what the buzz would have been. I have no idea. Honestly.
I think that the buzz around it was good. You had James Wan attached to it. It was violent. People felt, and the message was that Sub-Zero would be given the attention he deserved, I think maybe they would, Spencer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it more so than like a lot of these other kinds of movies. There was some excitement about this just because there were real martial artists in the cast, and it was more like they were really trying to do it for real rather than just like quickie throw a Mortal Kombat thing together.
It's also not as expensive as, say, a Fantastic Beasts or a King of Monsters, too.
Right.
So what it would have needed to be a success is way less than $180 million Godzilla movie or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder what the budget was for this film. It's made so far 51 million at the box office after what, 4 or 5 days in theaters, which is that's an opening.
Wikipedia says 55 million was the budget.
Well, there you go. So it's easily going to make its money back, and then some, depending on how that works with HBO Max. So yeah, I guess this is a doable kind of hybrid model. For now,
they're already like hardcore teasing the inevitable, like the sequel at this point. It hasn't been announced, but like all indications are that Warner is going to follow up with another one.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, the big concern, I think, was that this simultaneous streaming release would be a big boon to piracy, and I don't think we're seeing that play out. My hypothesis is that it's hard enough for older people and for just lots of people to figure out how to sign up for HBO Max at all and how to figure out their streaming services, that they are then not going to figure out how to torrent something, some like bad fan cam version, or I guess they'd get the real version. But for people to figure out how to use the Pirate Bay and watch it on their laptops or whatever, it seems like a bigger hurdle than just being like, oh, I'll sign up for the free trial for HBO Max. That's my hunch. But do you think piracy is a bigger issue when you do these simultaneous drops?
I mean, it is, especially like internationally, because like if there's some territories where it's hitting early, or what, like Godzilla versus Kong released internationally, I think a week before it did in the States, and so there were already a lot of bootlegs like in the days before it even was released in the US on HBO Max. So I mean, sure, it's just always like, is it a significant enough percentage to like really matter? I think at this point there's like a dug-in group of people that are just gonna torrent things.
Yeah.
But the mainstream, I think most things are easily available enough that they don't bother.
And I'm sure, look, if it becomes a problem with this model, they will find ways to combat it, because they generally do, don't they?
Yeah, totally. Well, there we go. We now have we now move on to some excellent questions that our friends and family in the chat have been submitting this whole time. First up is Mike W., who asks, what is your favorite space movie? For me, it's Gravity, but Interstellar is also cool. So I guess, like a real, not like a sci-fi movie, but a space movie. I'll go first. And it's, I don't know. I'd have to really think about if it's my favorite, but I really like Moon with Sam Rockwell. That's a top 5 sci-fi movie for me. So check that box as well.
I mean, obviously, I think 2001, one of the, if not the greatest sort of like space exploration sort of movie. I would also highlight Ad Astra as a recent one that I really like, that I feel like a lot of people either didn't bother to check out or kind of got dismissed as like, oh, it's another like sad dad. He's sad about his dad kind of thing. But there's some really cool, just like, even if you're not interested in the dad stuff and you just want a sci-fi movie, there's some really cool sci-fi sequences in that one that I thought were really well done.
For me, I mean, if we're talking favorite, which is different to best, obviously, I would say Star Wars. And when I say Star Wars, I mean A New Hope, which I just always call Star Wars because it was called Star Wars when it came out.
That was its name in 77, yeah. I would also recommend on Netflix, there's a cool one by guy who used to be Mystery Guitar Man on YouTube, Joe Penna, Stowaway, with Anna Kendrick and Daniel Day Kim, Toni Collette. Just went up like last week. It's more of like a drama set in space, but they are astronauts on a space mission. And there is a very cool action sort of sequence towards the end that I don't want to spoil, but it's good.
Well, there you go. Also Apollo 13. I mean, come on.
Oh, sure.
That's the real deal. Okay, Cody Smith asks, if Citizen Kane were remade but focused on a different celebrity business person, who would be the best subject?
Wow, what a question.
I'm gonna say a Brit, and now I've gone blank. Richard Branson.
Okay.
Sure. Yes.
I'd watch that.
I feel like we've gotten a pretty good one that's sort of the Rupert Murdoch version, which is Succession. Like Succession is sort of like what if you did Kane, but about Rupert Murdoch and his family.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
I'd watch an Elon Musk one where it's just like him trying to make Grimes think he's cool, but it never happens.
Or like Peter Thiel investing in Facebook and PayPal and then trying to use the money to build like your own libertarian fantasy island.
Try to take the blood from teenagers.
That'd be a good one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, lots of good options. Lots of billionaire vampires to choose from. Oh,
Bill Gates would be a really relevant one right now because you could actually delve into the whole like, is he doing a good thing for public health or is he like the world's greatest monster?
Maybe we could have one with all of them and send them into space in Richard Branson's hot air balloon.
I love it.
And just not bring them back. Just send them
by all means. Yes, start your colony. Bye bye. All right. Mabs Ali writes, thoughts on the remake, I didn't know about this, that's being produced and starring DiCaprio of the film Another Round.
They just announced this yesterday. And actually DiCaprio's company beat out Jake Gyllenhaal's company. There was like a little bidding back and forth. Both of those guys wanted to be the American Mads.
Yeah, of course they did. Have you guys watched it, the original yet? And should we have a remake so soon?
I still have not.
Okay, so I'm still on Another Round Island. Kim, have you seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. No, I will watch it at some point. But I'm fine with American remakes of or English language remakes of foreign films soon after. That is fine. I'm happy to watch both versions.
Okay.
I'm with Kim. People, this upsets people so much, and I don't think this version should like supplant the Vinterberg movie. Like they can both like.
Yeah, I find them incredibly easy to ignore. One of my favorite movies, full stop, is Force Majeure, which is I believe. I was gonna say Swedish. I was gonna say some Nordic country, and then
Swedish.
I'm pretty sure it's Swedish. And or maybe Icelandic. It's definitely got Tormund in it.
It's not Icelandic.
Okay.
It could be Swedish. I was going to say maybe Finnish, but I think it's Swedish.
Well,
or Norwegian.
Yeah. I love that movie. And then they remade it with Will Ferrell and Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Who wouldn't want to see that? Well, me, apparently. I just didn't watch it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It is sweet. I guess it was like internationally produced, but the filmmaker is Swedish.
Yeah.
Downfall is the Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Will Ferrell one, and it is terrible. Watch Force Majeure, folks. Don't watch the remake.
It's always interesting. I was going to say when you get the director of the original remake it in English language, an American version. So you've got I was thinking of The Vanishing and George Sluizer, however you pronounce his name.
I don't know how to pronounce
the original Sporloos. And
yeah.
I mean, and the second one was pretty much the remake was pretty much a disaster, which is weird.
Yeah.
It might be like a language thing. It's always weird to sort of think. I'm not saying most of the English language remakes of foreign films are good. I'm just saying like I don't mind that they're doing it, and I don't feel like it undermines the original.
Yeah, there's remakes of remember the RoboCop remake or the Total Recall remake or all these things. No, you don't. They just come and go if they're bad, and that's fine. Yeah. Okay, finally, Rob Turner asks, how many marshmallows can you fit in your face? I think that's one that we'll have to settle on camera next time.
We'll have to chubby bunny this and figure it out. I honestly have no idea. I've never tried to do this.
You've never chubby bunnied.
I've never just tried to stuff marshmallows in my face until they wouldn't go in anymore. I'm not that big of a marshmallow guy, really.
I don't think I've ever participated, but yeah, go ahead.
Depends on how widely you can open your mouth and on your gag reflex.
That is the question, isn't it? But we will settle it.
No comment
on a future episode of SJU.
Because I just for context, I think his question is on your face. So it's more of a surface area
On
of
your
face.
face?
Question. I'm
That
just
doesn't
going
make any
off
sense.
Rob.
Zero. It's that they don't stick to your face.
Well, I
like
think,
if I was
yeah, I
lying
really-
flat, how many marshmallows could I rest
I guess
atop my
he's really
face?
just asking for the dimensions of your face. I guess it's really anything.
Just measuring the shape. The
Okay,
shape
well,
of our
in that
skull?
case, we'll all post our face dimensions in the
I'm
comments.
not
and you
doing
can-
that.
Standard size marshmallows or mini ones.
Oh, standard
This is how
size.
they make the
Certainly.
Mission Impossible masks in those movies. They first have to ask you, let me just ask, how many
How
marshmallows?
many
do you
marshmallows?
use? Got
Wide
it.
is your
Okay.
face? Okay, nailed it. Well, we couldn't do the show without the hard-hitting questions from viewers like yourself. So thank you. Please keep those coming in. But for today, that's our show. Come back. We're gonna do more. That's a threat and a promise. And thank you, Lon and Kim, for joining me. And we'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.